Sure, it's Dwayne Jones. I'm the executive director of Galveston Historical Foundation. So Galveston Historical Foundation is a derivative of an organization that started in 1871 as the Galveston Historical Society, or the Historical Society of Galveston. So we reformed in the 1950s and took the name of Galveston Historical Foundation so that we could own and buy properties on the island, which were very important to us to preserve for tourists, but also important to preserve them, to keep them intact and keep them available for the future. But the storm had an impact on everything on the island. It damaged everything, and we certainly know in our properties that there was damage. We're right now in the 1892 Walter and Josephine Gresham house, which had obviously just been completed a few years before the 1900 storm. And it is an amazing edifice of stone and brick and various kinds of materials coming together. So it was a very strong and powerful building at the time of the 1900 storm, and became a refuge for a number of folks who were in this area who are losing their properties during the storm. So to describe Bishop's Palace in words, if you're not visually here, is that, it sits on a raised basement pretty high up. So the first major floor and the point of entry from the front steps is fairly high up. But at the height of the storm, water was coming in the windows. We know that the windows were breaking from the wind. We know they were pulling and grabbing folks if they could, bringing them inside the house. All of that water and dampness was destroying the floor, which it damaged all of that. And then, as I have said, the windows were all broken, and most all of them repaired. Fortunately, some of the stained glass windows survived. Fortunately, some of the woodwork and things in the house survived. But we know that there was considerable damage. However, I would say this. There were buildings that were a lot worse in damage than Bishop's Palace. Ironically, Nicholas Clayton wanted to put the house on the beach. The Greshams wanted the house where their house was. They moved the other one down the street and built this one. Isn't that interesting to think about what might have happened to the house had it actually been 3 or 4 blocks to the south? It may have been totally destroyed, because at that point the wind would have been stronger, the dynamics would have been much harder on the house. The area, if you were to stand in front of Bishop's Palace and look south toward the beach into the Gulf of Mexico, you would see 1 block over this, you would see a large swath of properties that were totally destroyed during the storm. So those properties, as those buildings collapsed, those people, and many of them, if they could make it, they were making their way to places that they felt like they could survive. 3,600 buildings did not make it. 20,000 people were homeless after this. So the impact on the people's lives, both physically, emotionally, was very powerful. One of the things that we know about Mrs. Gresham from that cook, the German cook, was that Mr. Gresham, when he did reach here after the storm, took Mrs. Gresham and took her off the island when he could. She was very much traumatized by the storm. We know that she rarely came back to Galveston after the hurricane. So it's hard for us to think about just how powerful that event was. And while we record it in history for loss of life and damage of property, we can never record it into the lives of those people who survived and the people who left. So much here that represented Galveston and Texas development of the 19th century, that when that storm hit on September 8th, it would change that story forever. And Galvestonians would think about it as some of them as challenges to return and to restore and to build the seawall 17 feet to protect the future. But all of them that stayed in Galveston felt a determination that they were never going to lose the story of Galveston and that pivotal point and what it meant for the island and what it meant for Texas and what it meant for the nation.
Historic Galveston Island, playground of the Southwest, birthplace of Juneteenth, home of the official tall ship of Texas, and an architectural survivor unmatched in the nation. History-making moments live here, and Galveston Historical Foundation invites you to step into the past through interactive experiences, one-of-a-kind explorations, and good old-fashioned Gulf Coast fun. Learn more, get tickets, and plan the stories you'll share for years to come at galvestonhistory.org.